Okay, hi, we're gonna go over how to do points for the unit circle. Okay, so really, as long as you know 2 points, the rest of them you can figure out with patterns. So let's think of this like a coordinate grid, okay, where this is gonna be my y-axis and this is going to be my x-axis. Okay, and remember the radius of the unit circle is going to be 1. So if my radius is 1, then my point at the top here would be 0, 1, and my point here at the side would be 1, 0. Okay, now all the rest of the points share a pattern. We went over in class how we could find out what those points were by using our special triangle rules. Here I'm just going to show you some patterns. So first, we know that all of the points are going to have a denominator of 2. Okay, so once we have the denominator of 2, okay, all we have to do is start with 0, and then they're going to all be square roots. So this is square root of 0 is 0, and then square root of 1 is 1, and then we have square root of 2, square root of 3, and then we'll go back to 1. We can do the same thing on this side. So it'll be 0, square root of 1 is 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, okay? And then you've done the first quadrant, and we can find every other point just from knowing what side is positive and what side is negative, which I'll show you how to do next. Okay, so once we get the first quadrant, if we think of this as the y and the x-axis, remember that anything above the x-axis is going to be a positive y value. Anything on the right side of the x-axis is going to be a positive x value. Anything that's on the left side is going to be a negative x value, right? And then anything below the x-axis is going to be a negative y value. Okay, so every quadrant is going to have certain signs. So if we're in quadrant 1, every single point is going to be positive x, positive y. Okay, now if we're in quadrant 2, the x's are going to be what? Negative, that's right. Okay, and then so the y's will be positive. Good. Okay, now for quadrant 3, do we know what those are going to be?
Negative.
Good. Okay, so negative x, negative y, quadrant.
A positive negative.
Yes, positive x, negative y for quadrant 4. Okay, so now all we have to do is reflect these points over and then adjust the signs according to their quadrant. So see how this is also pi over 3? When you reflect it, whatever it's reflected to is also going to have a 3 on the bottom of it, just like this one does. So now that my x is negative, it becomes negative 1/2, but the root 3 over 2 is going to stay positive. When I reflect this, again, our x coordinate becomes negative, but our y value stays positive. And you can see they both have the pi over 4, so they're both going to have the root 2 over 2's. It's just their signs are changing. So this will be negative root 3 over 2, positive 1/2. Okay, and then once you get that figured out, you can keep reflecting. Again, every denominator of 6 is going to have the same order of numbers, so root 3 over 2 and 1/2, but because we're in the third quadrant, it's negative and negative. And then if I reflected that point over here, now my x is positive, but my y is still negative. Okay, and then you can do that with all of the points. Any points that are here, you can use the fact that this is going to be a distance of 1, so this would be negative 1, 0, while down here you would have 0, negative 1. All right, and then the rest you can fill in. There you go. Bye.